lot of science, and as most of you know, science usually demands some proof. And by the time they were finished with me, I wouldn't say that I was an atheist, but at best I was an agnostic. I just felt like, you just have to have some reason to believe these things. And I envied Christians, though, because I could tell they had hope that things were going to go well that I just did not have. But I think that Sally and I, we really didn't attend church. So when we decided to move to California, and this is, I'm sorry, all you native Californians out there, but I remember saying to Sally, well, we never go to church now. I'm sure we won't when we get to California. But God works in strange ways. And I was loaned a book to read by someone I worked with in the early days of our California church. And this book talked about a lot, many Bible prophecies that were actually fulfilled. And I kept saying, why wasn't I ever told about this? I just was never told about these prophecies were fulfilled. But I thought the evidence was good enough that I became what I thought was a strong Christian. So fast forward a few years, Sally and I had 3 great kids, and we were living the quote good Christian life. Everything was going fairly smoothly with a little bit of life's normal ups and downs, but we were doing all right. Then our youngest child, Sarah, got a blood disease called aplastic anemia. For those of you that don't know about that, it is a disease of the bone marrow that basically the bone marrow produces 3 types of cells. One is red blood cells. We all know why we have those. White blood cells to help us fight infection. And the third one is thrombocytes, or what's called platelets. And those help our clotting. And the problem was that her bone marrow had pretty much shut down. And with the fact that she had it involving all 3 cell lines, we're given a very grave prognosis. So I kind of remember thinking, this is the kind of thing that happens to other people, not me. It was something that I didn't sign up for. But I prayed fervently with my Christian faith. And Sarah was on the prayer chain of multiple different churches. And I really believed between modern medicine and God's miraculous intervention, Sarah would be healed. And what a marvelous testimony this was going to be for God, that he had done this for her. Over a period of about 13 months, though, we were making multiple trips up to CHOC, Children's Hospital, Orange County, up in Orange. And probably I would imagine that Sarah spent more time in CHOC than at home in those 13 months. Things began to deteriorate. I bargained with God, which we all would tend to do. I told him that if she wasn't saved, that maybe I'd buy a boat and I'd spend my Sundays sailing or something. But 2 days before Thanksgiving in 1987, Sarah died. The strangest thing happened. At a time when I, in the natural, could have been shaking my fist at God, I had some kind of a calm assurance that all would be okay, that God was sovereign, and that his will is high above mine. line, and I'll read that to you from the NIV. Philippians 4, verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So let's fast forward a little bit here to 2019. Sally and I had both retired, and we're making plans. And I'm sure you've heard this saying that life is what happens when you're making other plans. And that sure was the case for us. So she was starting to get the words mixed up when she tried to talk to people. And when she went to call people with her cell phone, she was having trouble punching in the right numbers. Something wasn't right. So we went to the ER to try to get this dealt with. I figured that she must be having something like a stroke, something like that. And what do I know? Because dogs and cats don't really get strokes. So we went. Unfortunately, it was not a stroke. They did an MRI, and they found that she had 5 brain tumors in her head. And they did a biopsy, and she had a type of brain tumor called glioblastoma, which is about the most virulent form you can have. She wound up going to the UCI Medical Center and was put on a clinical trial of a promising new drug called marazineib. And I hope that this time the Lord would grant us that. The amazing thing is that the drug was actually shrinking the tumors, and we were all ecstatic. But they soon found that Sally just couldn't tolerate the drug. So she was removed from the trial, which basically was, well, we've done all we can. So after about 8 months, Sally passed away. Once again, I had a peace that passed all understanding. I can't explain it. Now, did I grieve? You better believe I did. I really miss those 2 wonderful people terribly. Maybe that was enough, God. But after about 9 months, I sat down one day to have lunch. Took a couple bites of a sandwich, and all of a sudden I had a terrible roaring in my head, and I was having a cerebellar stroke. The cerebellum is a little billiard ball sized part of your brain that sits right here, right over your brainstem, that helps us control our balance and our coordination. And I went by ambulance ride to Hoag, and fortunately, they were able to get it stopped in its tracks. And I got quick treatment over there, and I pretty much, I think they have stopped the process. They've got me on some medication, hope it will prevent it from recurring. But I still have some problems with my balance and with moving my left leg. I do rehab exercises regularly, but the fact remains that I might never improve any more than what I already have. Okay, I'm not bitter because I have that peace. I have peace that really, it does pass all understanding. I can't explain it, but I still have my faith. So to sum it all up, I had years ago when I first became a Christian, I happened to have the radio on, and I heard a radio preacher say something that has always stuck with me. He said, Jesus is not the way out of your problems. He is the way through your problems. And I think that kind of sums up my experiences, that God's with me, and He's with you all too.